So we come to the very powerful session where we are going to talk about a lot of interesting things. And we have Beena Unikrishnan here. She is a she is a writer, an artist, and a filmmaker. And we have a 15-minute session with her, and every word she speaks is very important. So, you know, Beena, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Miko. Thank you so much.
So, you are an artist, and you have come up with paintings, wonderful paintings. Before we go into that, Shakti, the mother goddess. She is the embodiment of the cosmic energy itself. Okay? In your own words, what do you think is unleashing the power of feminine within? We'd like to hear it from you, Beena.
The universe, everything in this universe is basically an interplay of masculine and feminine energy, which we basically call Prakriti and Purusha. In a life being, in a life, basically soul, we always accept as a male, but the body and the nature is a feminine part of it. The intelligence is something which will exist when both of them are together. But in a human being, basically human being is not an unisex organism. It has the potential of being a male and a female. A female gamete has an XX chromosome, and a male gamete has either X or a Y chromosome. So it is basically a concept of Ardhanarishwara, that they exist together. They don't exist without each other. And a primitive gonad, it has two parts, a medulla and cortex. Medulla will bear a testis, and the cortex will be changed as an ovary with the presence of a chromosome which is available. And X chromosomes makes the medulla to regress, and the cortex will be changed as a female sex, and the vice versa. So in such a scenario, even though after the formation, a testis secretes the hormone of a man along with a little bit small amount of estrogen. The same way in a female also, she also produces estrogen as part of androgen, as part of even estrogen also. So we basically don't exist without each other. That is what it is. And it's not just spirituality, there's a big science behind it. So when it comes to this, we all accept there is a soul. We all respect the fact of soul. Even being a feminine, we don't understand the power of creation, which is there within us. So unleashing the feminine within is basically understanding that power. So once you understand that power, you go ahead, the subject called, gender. And I think it's an absolute liberation.
So within us, there is a masculine, there is a feminine in every person.
Yes.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Wonderful, Beena. So nice to hear that. And spiritual awakening, the quest for spiritual awakening, it does not happen overnight. I have read that there is an incident, probably an illness or some life-changing event, or some people who would have really influenced you. Can you share, when this quest actually began for you? And who are the people who actually influenced you?
Maybe yes, what you said is right. It is not an overnight miracle that can happen. If something happens to somebody like that, then they are blessed, I should say. It's a long journey. It's basically a journey. I feel spiritual awakening is a journey which you take it inside, not outside. It's an inward journey to yourself. So I belong to Kerala. I'm from a Hindu family. But even though being in Hindu family, my exposure to spiritualism was just, lighting lamps in the evening or to going to temples without knowing why we are doing for it. It's just a ritual. But when just 20 years back, a colleague of mine, a young girl, happened to be a Reiki healer. And, I got healed a severe headache with her. And that, that's the first time I'm hearing about energy. And that literally inspired me to understand more about it. And I was lucky enough to get a guru who has embedded the system and the process in my lifestyle. So while doing this Reiki healing and all, it is an it's a beautiful experience. And there was a type of fire which was there inside me to learn more. A lot of people, spiritual people you have kept, I met during intervals, and they kept that fire on. I'm being a painter. I always painted, copying Raja Ravi Verma's painting and, other masters' painting. But, I slowly I'm not a trained artist. So I lost that interest in copying them. Suddenly my attraction was geometrical figures, that took me to Yendra and Tantra, the doorsteps of that. But during that also, I was not happy with my paintings. There was some life missing. That quest took me to the doorsteps of Dr. Alex, my mentor, I will call him. He actually totally changed my perceptions about spiritualism, about life. Everything was changed with it. And I started understanding there's an energy which you can connect by yourself, which is called as Tantra. That is the technique. Tantra is nothing but technique. We people have a lot of wrong notions about Tantra, but it's just a technique of connecting to the higher self. There I started my first series was Nakshatras, a series of paintings, based 27 paintings. In fact, Travel with the Moon, 27 constellations, and the Sun, Moon, and the Naga. And but okay, everybody has the best times doesn't last for long. I lost Dr. Alex from my life, and after that, last 4 years, I've been working on a subject called 64 Yoginis. In fact, I've completed that paintings.
64 yoginis. Before we go to that, this number 64 is very significant. I know that it is very significant in Hindu religion, but I just read up a little bit, in other faiths also, the 64 is very important. Is there a reason behind 64 yoginis, Veena?
64 is a beautiful number. It's like a lot of power behind it. You have 64 squares, 64-bit in computing, and in fact, 64 nucleotide in genetic codes. When the genetic code is transferred in 64 points, that is also there, and 64 art forms, and there are 64 energy chambers in your own body. But the root is number 8. Okay, the number 8, number 8 is 8 tattva, we call 5 elements, but along with the elements, you have sun, moon, and the manas, the eye, it's also part of it. And you have the 8 limbs of yoga, the Ashta Siddhis, and so much numbers in 8. But when our subject comes, it's 8 cluster of 8 goddesses, which we call as matrikas. Yes, and yoginis, in fact.
So our viewers are across the globe. So, let's start at the very beginning. Just a basic question which people might have in their minds. Who are yoginis?
Yeah.
Are they manifestations of the goddess Shakti? Or are they female or feminine guardian angels? Who are yoginis?
It's a long story, but we have to cut it short. It's basically a story of creation, I'll say. As per Tantric cosmology, in fact, before Vedas, Agamas and, Shaiva Siddhantam and the Kashmiri Siddhantam, all that, the universe is perceived, maintained and created by 2 fundamental energies, which we call male and the female. Okay, the Shiva is a pure consciousness, and he is the awareness to the internal and external universe, wherein Shakti has always controlled the creation, the maintenance, and everything has been done by her. But Shiva has taken a form of Bhairava to control time. So time. So the time is the Lord of Kala, is Lord of time, basically. During that time, the same time, his consort Bhairavi also have taken place. Because without Shakti, Shiva is just Shava. That is what it is said. There's no energy, because this whole thing done by the goddess. He has in fact given all that energy to her. So once that formation is there are 8 forms of Bhairavas which controls the 8 directions, and the presiding lord of the 8 tattvas also. His consorts are known as matrikas, that 8 powers. 8 powers are 8 emotions of ours, which is again divided into 8. Okay, so all together of them, that is 8 goddesses, has to do their duties in different areas of life and areas of universe. 7 more was added to each one of them, which is 8 into 8. It is known as a group of goddesses called as yoginis. Without them, there is no creations. Shiva is actually formless. The form is Shakti. Not only in the universe, but also within us. They are present in us, in our own body, they are present. It is basically said that Ed Brahmande Tat Pinde. So whatever is in the universe, it's basically you reflect it in your own body. But to this all, God and goddesses. But when it comes to the real facts of life, Yogini in this universe it's in this present time is an enlightened woman with a lot of passion, power, knowledge, and deep insight, which can make changes in this particular world. They are also called as living yoginis. So we are sitting in front of a lot of yoginis today.
So they lie within our body,
They are like, yes.
When you say that, I just get goosebumps, and I'm sure like me, all the viewers, would love to know a little more about how yoginis are within you. How to bring that out, that energy.
You imagine, in fact, Buddhism really follows the system of, mandala of the body. You imagine, a body mandala with all these powers, which I mentioned earlier. There are 64 sacred energy centers in our own body itself. When we say that our own body, there are energy points where the prana, where the Shiva and Shakti resides. As per sage Agastya, he's called it as marma points, where two or more life tissues, bones, all these things meet, which we call it as marma. Okay, where treatment, healing, because it's going to that particular life force itself. So there are 108 marma points, and one is the manasa itself. Out of that, 64 are kula marma points, which are the vital points of the life, where the prana exists, where this goddess exists in our real body. It's basically more of understanding. So when in such a scenario, I believe that these are the points where goddess or yoginis exist. I'll just tell you a story to explain this. During Samudra Madan, Shiva consumed poison and he becomes blue in color and he fell unconscious. During time, goddesses takes the form of Tara and breastfeeds him, and takes out that poison from his body. And Tara is also, she's a goddess of compassion. She's the goddess of speech and wisdom. She is also known as Neela Saraswati. And the Shiva at that particular position is known as Neelkant. Okay. The marma point associated with the speech is known as Neela, which is there in the throat. And the Saraswati, which we call as against goddess of speech, it's a vital channel, which is ending in Vishuddha Chakra, again throat. Don't you think it is beautiful? And some mysteries behind it. So I feel this is just an example. I'm actually, after my painting, this is my research. I hope that is going to be a wonderful journey again.
Veena, is it possible for you to, share at least a few paintings, because we're running out of time? I'd like, you can show the iPad closer to the camera.
Yeah. What you see behind me is one. Yeah.
I can see 2 or 3 yoginis behind you.
Yeah, I can see some of them.
A little closer.
Because of the light,
Yeah. Wonderful. So we have 64 of them, viewers, and she's painted all of them. And it's just wonderful to see. I have seen them, but, it is not possible for us to see them. So I just asked her to share just one take-home message, because
you can see the message. Some paintings are there in my website also. People who can see. See, I would like to
one phrase, just a take-home message for all the.
I would like to read it out for you. Sure. I in fact thank you for all of you for being being good listeners to it. From Devi Puranas, Devi says, "I am manifest divinity. I unmanifest divinity, and I transcend divinity. I am Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. I am the Lakshmi, I am the Saraswati, and I am the Parvati. I am the moon, I am the stars, and I'm the sun. So I'm animals, I'm in everywhere, you know. So in such, we are in a country, we basically, we believe, in fact, so the last line is, I'm a female and a male in the form of Shiva. So we are in a country, we are all empowered. So we really don't have to look for empowering ourselves. We basically look up to realize this power and unleash our feminine within.
Thank you so much, Bina. And Women's Economic Forum is honored to confer the award for you, Iconic Woman, Creating a Better World for All, Bina Unikrishnan.
Thank you so much. It's a surprise, Meghu. Thank you so much. Thank you for, thank you, WEF. Thanks.
Yes, we can speak, words on the subject, but
yes.
the next panel is waiting. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Meghu. Yes. How do I go out?
You can just
leave.
Yes, correct.